So the question we have here today, could this car be a famous drag racer from the 60s? We're going to go over a few telltale signs here with this car, and we'll leave it out there, see what people think. So 1966 Ford Fairlane, long-time drag car from the 60s. All right, here we go. So as you can see, the car clearly has been drag raced. Now, the big assumption is most of these cars that we think are something usually are not. This car in particular has spent the majority of its life drag racing. And one of the questions I've come across is I always look for old drag cars. This car is a very, very vintage race car. And why, you ask? Because of stuff like this. This right here, that is a cable drive tachometer, which very much was phased out by the late 60s, mid 70s. People weren't running cable drive tachs, and it's clearly been screwed to the dashboard for a long time. The other common thing is, the gauges put out on the cowl panel. Not terribly unusual for a lot of cars. Even sometimes today you still see it. But what makes this car unique is, for one, the hood. Now this appears to be an original Plaza style hood, and for the most part the car has seen several transformations over its time. But this car in particular came from, I found it in northeastern Oklahoma, and the car had been on Marketplace for a while, and I made a trade deal and wound up with the car. The interesting part is I've been talking to a gentleman who is trying to locate his old drag car from the 60s. Now, this man is very much an elder. He's very well known in the racing world. And the question is, could this be his old drag car? Now, everybody says, yeah, so you found a Fairlane, it's got to be somebody's famous car. Yes and no. Obviously, this car was raced for some time. And the only history I can find about it is it was raced with a 427, sorry. I tried to get a hold of the previous owner from the guy I got it from, and it's been a dead end. Maybe if somebody sees this video, they may recognize the car and may be able to reach out to me. However, the famous race car drivers who car this possibly could be, and there's a lot of telltale signs, is Harold Duttons drag hag. Now, a lot of you people say, oh, his car was a 67, his car was a 427 car. Well, that, my friends, is where you're wrong. I've spoken to Harold personally and some very close friends of his, and his car was not a factory 427 car. His car was actually a springtime yellow 289 automatic car. Yes, that is true. So I did some digging and spoke to Harold, and a few things he told me over the phone. Harold has he's as sharp as a wit, but he's lost a lot of his eyesight, doesn't talk to a lot of people. One thing he told me, if I find his car, and this is common to a lot of the race cars, is he put a removable centerpiece in there for when he was racing. Well, as you can see, clearly it wasn't originally a 427 car because it's not drilled like most of them were. This one was cut, which he said that he had done. Now, he told me personally his car was not a 427 car. Now, that means any hood he would have put on it would have been either over the counter or something done through Ford later on. And as you see, these brackets don't look terribly bad or terribly, chopped up or gumped up. They look like it was some sort of possible kit that was done a long time ago. However, you look at it, and it is done with the original Ford bolts. It looks like it is made for this in particularly, which Ford did do. They did offer this stuff to put on other cars back then. They actually had a few different types of hood. They had a thinner, lightweight hood, and they had a thicker hood like this. Now, let's go on to the next thing. This car has drum brakes on the front of it, which wasn't terribly unusual for the drag cars. The drum brakes, most of them felt like they had enough stopping power, but it allowed less friction going down the track. So the car does have drum brakes. The car does have the original cross member. Now, you see this stuff, and this stuff is all nuts and bolts. This all was interchangeable. They went year to year, they changed it. This car clearly, as you can see, was a 1966 289 car. So that tells you right there, it's clearly a 66 car. However, Harold's car was raced as a 67, but Ford and NHRA just required him to update the badging and stuff on the side of it. Now, most of the cars that people remember of Harold's were bright red, said drag hag on them. And as you can see, clearly there's yellow on it. But we've explained that. The car was originally a springtime yellow. Later, the car became the twin to the Hubert Platt car and was painted the black and had the name and stuff on the side of it, as people have seen in the past. There's pictures of Harold's car and Hubert Platt's car side on side in the pits. So as we come to the door over here, we see the yellow paint, we see the black paint, and what you mostly can't see from the outside is clearly this car was bright red, and bright red for some time, even on the doors. And as the door VIN matches, it is a 1966 C code automatic. This cage, I think, was added in later years, possibly for tech, but the car is kind of rough, and you can see at some point the car has been back halved. I'm guessing the car probably hasn't been raced in probably 30 or so years, but all the telltale signs are here that this may be Harold Duttons' drag hag. We cannot confirm 100% unless Harold was able to identify it in some way that nobody else would know. His eyesight is very poor. There's a lot of telltale signs here that lean that this possibly could be the drag hag. We do not know. We'll put it out there for discussion. It's not unusual for cars to float around and wind up in different spots of the country. Everybody knows that Harold was out of Georgia, and him and his brother were very, prolific race cars drivers. And who knows? This car could have made its way to Oklahoma, as drag racing was pretty big back then. A lot of the original stuff clearly is missing off it, but again, it wasn't a real 427 car to start with. So as people buy these cars, change them, depending on what their ideal was for it, whether it was going to be a drag car, street car, whatever, those things got changed over time. So that's the question. Does anybody know, does anybody recognize this old 66 Fairlane, and can they put a name and a face to it? Potentially, it may be Harold Duttons' drag hag. We do not know. We cannot confirm this or deny it with Harold himself. Great guy, amazing, really nice guy to talk to. Some friends of his have told me about his car being original 289 springtime yellow, or whatever color you call it. But all the markings on the car show that the car was springtime yellow. It's been red. It's clearly been black. And it was clearly raced way back in the 60s or early 70s. Nobody was running that tachometer much after that time. Why it's still up there? Kind of just maybe one of the finishing things that tell us whether this could be his car or not. All those factors aside, the cross member's been cut. The car was clearly run with a 427 based on previous owners and friends have told me. So weigh in, tell me what you know. If you have Harold's old drag hag, it really kind of puts us to rest. But I want to put it out there, get some opinions. Everything is opinion here. I'm not saying anything's 100% fact other than the few things I pointed out. Clearly an old drag car, clearly been 289 automatic, springtime yellow, red and black at some point, and been a drag car most of its life. If you guys like the video, just give me a like, subscribe, and share. Tell me what you think. And hey, let's put it out there. Let's see if we can get some of these old cars found. I probably will be selling this car if anybody's interested. It's just an old weapon at this point. Obviously, if it's Harold's car, it has a fair amount more value. But hopefully you guys like the video. Give me a subscribe and share, and tell me what you think. Hope you guys have a great day.